Number 10, the fear of missing out on terror. You're scrolling through Netflix at 1 a.m. and a horror movie trailer pops up. Your brain, the logical part anyway, is screaming, "No, stay away from that jump scare." But your fingers are already clicking play. Why do we voluntarily put ourselves through the emotional ringer? It's a question that has plagued philosophers and amateur sleepwalkers for centuries. On some level, we're all thrill seekers, and our bodies are constantly searching for that sweet spot of high arousal and low actual risk. Think of it like a baby roller coaster for your nervous system. You get all the terrifying drops and stomach flips of a real one, but you're safely strapped in, and there are no real monsters at the end. We've evolved to seek out these experiences because they mimic the real dangers our ancestors faced, but without the actual threat of, being eaten. Basically, we're tricking our bodies into thinking we're in a life or death situation, and our brains, the gullible little things, go along for the ride. We're a species of paradoxes, it turns out. We want to be scared, but only if we know we're going to be okay. Number 9, your brain thinks it's a scientist. Ever notice how people who hate horror movies will tell you they're pointless because they aren't real? Well, the flip side is that for those of us who love them, our brains are using the opportunity to conduct a little scientific experiment. Every time you watch a zombie movie, your brain isn't just watching, it's taking notes. It's running simulations. If I were in that situation, would I hide in the basement or make a run for it? It's a low-stakes way to practice what to do in a high-stakes scenario. We're essentially conducting mental fire drills for the apocalypse. It's a way for your brain to feel like it's in control. When the movie character makes a terrible decision, your brain yells at the screen, "Don't go in there." Not because you're worried about the character, but because you've just proved to yourself that you would have made the smarter decision. Your brain, in all its arrogance, is basically saying, "I got this. Now let's watch what not to do." Number 8, the afterglow of terror. Okay, so you made it through the movie. The monster is defeated, the jump scares are over, and the credits are rolling. Why do you suddenly feel good? This is where the magic happens. When you get scared, your body goes into full survival mode. Your heart rate skyrockets, your breathing quickens, and you get a massive dump of adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormone. But here's the kicker. Once the threat is gone, your brain realizes there was no real danger. It's like a car alarm that went off for no reason. In a state of relief, your brain releases endorphins and dopamine. These are the feel-good chemicals that create a sense of euphoria, and it's a powerful cocktail. It's a natural high, a reward for surviving the imaginary threat. You get to feel the satisfaction of conquering something terrifying without any of the actual effort or risk. The fear fades, but the feeling of accomplishment lingers, making you feel more alive and alert. So in a way, watching horror movies is basically just a shortcut to a really satisfying brain chemical dump. Number 7, the safe space of fright. You're in a movie theater, surrounded by strangers, all of you jumping in unison at the same jump scare. There's a weird unspoken solidarity in it, isn't there? It's the same feeling you get when you're on a roller coaster and the person next to you screams. You're all in it together. This is a crucial part of why we love being scared in group settings. The shared experience creates a sense of community. Our brains are hardwired for social connection, and experiencing intense emotions together, even fake ones, strengthens those bonds. It's like a mini team-building exercise where the goal is to not pee your pants. You might be a lone wolf at home, but in a theater full of people watching a horror flick, you're part of a pack. You're all facing the same fabricated threat, and there's a certain comfort in knowing you're not alone in your terror. This is why haunted houses are so popular on dates. It's a socially acceptable excuse to hold hands, scream, and then laugh about it later. Number 6, the "I knew it" factor. Your brain loves to be right. It's a little narcissist like that. And horror movies, in their own twisted way, give our brains plenty of opportunities to feel smart. You know the trope. The group of teenagers splits up, or the main character decides to check on the spooky noise in the basement. You're yelling at the screen, "Don't go in there!" And when they do, and something terrible happens, your brain gets a little shot of dopamine. See? It says, "I told you so." It's a form of cognitive validation. Our brains are constantly trying to predict outcomes based on patterns, and horror movies are full of predictable patterns. We see the warning signs, we recognize the tropes, and we anticipate the scares. When our predictions are correct, we get a little mental pat on the back. It makes us feel like we're good at surviving, even though all we've really done is sit on the couch and correctly guess when the killer would pop out from behind the curtain. Number 5, the challenge of the unknowable. We think of horror as a simple good versus evil story, but at its best, it's a profound exploration of the unknown. Our brains are constantly trying to make sense of the world, to categorize and explain everything. But what about the things that defy explanation? The things that lurk in the shadows, the monsters with no clear motive, the mysteries with no easy solution. These are the things that truly get under our skin. This is why supernatural horror is often more terrifying than a simple slasher flick. A masked killer is scary, but you can understand his motive, however twisted it might be. But a ghost? A demon? An ancient cosmic entity that exists outside the bounds of human logic? That's truly unsettling. Our brains are forced to grapple with a concept it can't process, and that's where the real fear comes from. It's not the jump scare, it's the lingering thought of something unknowable and incomprehensible. Number 4, the body as a thrill-seeking machine. You've heard of runner's high, that euphoric feeling after an intense workout. Well, watching a horror movie is like a survivor's high. When you're scared, your brain tells your body it's in danger. Your adrenal glands pump out adrenaline, and your heart rate and breathing skyrocket. Your blood pressure increases, your senses sharpen, and your pupils dilate, all to prepare you to fight or flee. But here's the interesting part. Because the threat is entirely in your head, all of that energy has nowhere to go. It's like revving a car in neutral. The physical symptoms of fear, the rapid heartbeat, the shallow breathing, the clammy hands, are the same whether you're about to get eaten by a bear or watch a slasher flick. We're essentially tricking our bodies into having a physical reaction without the actual danger. It's a safe way to experience the rush of adrenaline and then the calming release of endorphins and dopamine that follows. It's the ultimate cathartic release, a mental and physical reset button. Number 3, why do we find clowns so creepy? It's not just a childhood phobia. There's a scientific and psychological reason why so many people are unnerved by clowns. It all comes down to something called uncanny valley. This is a concept in robotics and psychology that describes our uneasy feeling when we encounter something that is almost, but not quite, human. Clowns exist squarely in this space. They have exaggerated human features, a wide, painted smile, huge eyes, and a colorful, unnatural wig. The disconnect between the human form and the grotesque, exaggerated features makes our brains go, "This doesn't add up." Their expressions are painted on, so you can never be sure what they're really feeling. Is that smile genuine? Is there a real person behind the makeup? Our brains, which are constantly trying to read social cues and intentions, get stuck in a loop of confusion. When you add in the historical context of clowns in horror, from Stephen King's It to countless low-budget slasher films, the fear becomes a learned response. We've been conditioned to associate that painted smile with something deeply sinister. Number 2, the thrill of narrative control. Have you ever watched a scary movie and found yourself yelling advice at the characters? Don't open that door, or check the closet first. On the surface, it's just frustration, but psychologically, it's about a need for control. We are passive observers in real life, but in a movie, we have the illusion of agency. We can't stop the car from breaking down in the middle of nowhere, but we can scream at the characters to check the gas tank. Horror movies give us a predictable framework to test our own ability to survive. We know the rules of the genre, and we can apply them to the story. We can predict the plot twists and the jump scares, and in doing so, we feel a sense of mastery over the narrative. This feeling of control is a powerful antidote to the feeling of powerlessness that often comes with real fear. We crave the feeling that we can handle a bad situation, and a good horror movie allows us to rehearse that feeling from the safety of our couch. Number 1, the attraction of the abhorrent. This is the big one. At its core, our love for scary things comes from a weird, primal fascination with what's horrifying. It's the same reason we slow down to look at a car crash on the highway. We're drawn to things that are grotesque and disturbing because they represent the edge of our reality, the part that our rational minds want to ignore. But our unconscious mind, the one that's still swinging from trees, is endlessly curious about it. We want to understand it. We want to see how we'd react. It's a way of grappling with our own mortality, of testing our limits without actually being in danger. It's a macabre form of self-discovery. We watch someone face a monster or survive an impossible situation, and we get to ask ourselves, could I have done that? It's a way of affirming our own resilience, a way of proving to ourselves that we are strong enough to face the bad things in life, even if the bad things are just a fictional monster in a movie. The more we confront the dark and disturbing, the less power it holds over us. In a strange, twisted way, watching horror movies is a way of becoming brave.